Now that we've made our makey puppet, I'll just finish off by covering a few more details about what a knitting machine can do. Actually, first let's talk about how you might combine knitting with electronics. Say you wanted to give makey light up eyes, just with a simple LED circuit of some kind. You actually don't need to cut a hole, you can just poke the LED through. Though you might want to glue a felt washer onto your LED to keep everything in place. Or if you need to leave space for a larger component, you can knit in a buttonhole as you knit. Of course, the main use of a knitting machine is to make garments. You often want a smaller scale pattern, more like this, which makes for shorter floats on the back when using the same two-color technique that we used for our puppet. And as the design goes all the way out to the edge, you don't have to do anything special for the edges. You just move the carriage back and forth and it does the pattern automatically without even the little bit of manual intervention that I showed you for our single motif puppet. This two-color technique is actually 2 colors per row, so you can change out the colors as you go along if you want. This sample too has reasonably short floats on the back, really quite usable as a garment. Then when it comes time to sew up your garment, you have a nice neat edge here that you can hand sew. You can assemble your garment on the sewing machine like we just did with our puppet, but with neat edges like this, hand sewing like the hand knitters do is often the best way. And if you want to work with photographs, let's talk a little bit about how that's done. All the first stages are actually image manipulation done on your computer. Reduce the image to black and white and use this technique known as dithering. These images are large, poster-sized. That's because a knitted stitch is relatively large and we can only fit 200 stitches across, which makes for a very low-res picture. These posters were all knitted using the same technique I showed you with the floats on the back, but as we're stretching it over a piece of foam core or cardboard, the fact of the long floats doesn't really matter. Well, throughout this whole project I've been talking about these floats on the back of the work. Well, by adding an extra piece of equipment and taking a little more trouble, we can eliminate these floats altogether. Double bed jacquard fabric is a little thicker, it lays nice and flat, and above all it has no floats. Instead you get this sort of staggered stripe effect on the back. The extra piece of equipment that we need to do this is called a ribber. It goes on in front of the main knitting machine. The 2 beds knit in opposite directions like this, and any floats are caught in between the 2 layers of knitting. In fact, the main primary use of a ribber is to make ribbing for the edge of your garments, just alternating knitting and purling between the 2 beds. Well, that's plenty for now. Thanks very much for watching.